Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Wife of 6 years had 6-month affair with ex and destroyed our relationship. Rant. What a crazy train ride it has been. I'm 33 and currently going through a painful divorce and thought I should share my story to help process the numbness and loss I feel and evaluate how this train wreck occurred. Me and my wife and I were co-workers for a time 9 years ago. From the time we met we were extremely attracted to each other, sparks flew and we hit it off immediately. I dated around a good amount in my younger 20s, but there was something different with her that made me feel safe and happy. After several years of dating and living with each other we decided to get married. I remember even at the time I proposed it didn't feel right. We had an open relationship mostly because she wanted that lifestyle and unfortunately went along for that ride. Never marry in a polyamorous relationship. Things definitely started shifting right after our marriage. With our open marriage we set the boundary, we'd only have fun with mutual friends and talk about agreements beforehand. Right before we bought our home my wife admitted she spent a night with her ex-boyfriend and also later revealed there was no protection. I was devastated. That's where all the trust evaporated overnight, and even though I still loved her, I didn't feel respected anymore. I decided to put the house solely in my name. We bought the home when we were married, but this comes into play later in our divorce proceeding. I continued to progress in my career and being the breadwinner and thought my wife was happy. Slowly but surely the bedroom fun started to feel like a chore and could tell she was checking out. I should also mention my wife had a very high body count of men previous to our relationship. 2 years ago, right after the pandemic started, she pulled the rug from under me and let me know she wanted to break away from me and she wasn't afraid to provide for herself. She hired a spiritual coach and thought she could replicate that same amount of success right away. Fast forward to today, she is still struggling to launch her coaching business. Yay, being independent isn't so easy, right hun? Also doesn't feel very good with all the emasculation and treating me like garbage as I continued to financially support her. She deployed a lot of emotional manipulation to have me still provide and pay for her lifestyle. She convinced me to sleep in separate bedrooms. I did it to give her the space she said she needed. I really should have kicked her out of the house at that point. About a year ago she reconnected with that ex-boyfriend she had the affair with. To add on to the misery I was already feeling, she decided to commit to a relationship with him even though we are still married. Looking back I feel completely disgusted with myself for not standing up for myself back then and continuing to allow it. She would often offer me affection and intimacy here and there to keep me ignorant of any of my dignity or self-respect, so I played along to earn any form of closeness with her. I was completely addicted and made her my world. The turning point was last spring after I took her to Hawaii for a week. It was my ultimate Hail Mary to win her back. We even did a couple's photo shoot professionally and had a really great time together. However, I could tell she was still invested in her AP. Not even a day after we got back from the trip she said she missed her AP. Again I felt absolutely devastated that she would so easily cast away the time and energy we had just spent together. This is where I started to finally regain my dignity. I decided to play up to my image and try to walk away as unscathed as I could and divorce her. Not surprisingly, her and the boyfriend decided to move in together last summer. This is when I brought up to my wife I wanted an uncontested divorce. She was ripe with feelings for her AP, so when I wrote out the stipulation I'd receive the full equity on the house, my bank accounts, and retirement accounts, she agreed. I gave her a week to decide after another weekend of vacationing with her AP, and she signed the stipulation in front of a notary and I filed it the same day. She ended up going out to the bar that night with her AP, getting dolled up and spending another intimate encounter with him, I guess in celebration. Yay, I surely felt like a valued husband. 3 weeks after my wife wasn't able to get housing with her AP as originally planned. Now understanding her predicament, she filed a motion with the court to dismiss our stipulation and go to mediation. Go figure. I then lawyered up and we had several hearings with the courts. My wife never hired an attorney. I believe she thought her spiritual leanings told her she didn't need any of that. Well, it turns out she lost her case and tried filing an erroneous second motion with her newly hired attorneys and lost that too a few weeks ago. Now she's filed an objection to be heard by the judge. My lawyers are very confident the objection will also be denied and the final divorce papers can then be signed. I've racked up $10,000 of legal fees, but my wife also has a lot of fees too and may even be able to ask for my fees to be paid if I win, but I will most likely elect to pay my own anyway. Update/edit. Also, I should add, in the second motion she filed with her attorneys she made up lies about me coercing and lying to her. Things like I told her to not hire a lawyer because it was too expensive. The commissioner saw right through that BS and denied her, and hope the judge does too. When my lawyer read through that motion with me, he said there is no chance at reconciliation. Also, the hearing before the judge just got scheduled for April 5th. The finish line is so close now. Writing this all out, it seems almost too absurd to be true. I'm trying to survive the present the best I can, staying focused in my career and trying to enjoy playing piano and my other hobbies to not think about this. It doesn't help that my wife gives me glimpses of wanting me back, but the past is just too painful for reconciliation. I know I can find another partner that loves me and respects me, but for the present moment I feel paralyzed and heartbroken over this journey. Ultimately, I just want to move on with my life, and maybe I'll laugh at it all looking back one day. The universe has an interesting way of unfolding. Hope that karma works as designed. Also, any suggestions on getting her out of the home? I feel like I can't kick her out legally unless we're officially divorced. She has mentioned to me many times she fears me kicking her out. At the same time, she tells me she has other living arrangements planned, but nothing has ever materialized. Yes. You will find someone who loves you once this is done. She is a manipulator. Once she loses in front of the judge and the reality of what happens sinks in, she will try to manipulate you again. Stay strong and go after her to pay your fees. Shooting $10,000 for the hurt she has caused you is nothing. Stay strong and remember, you took her to Hawaii and less than one day back she yearns for her AP. Tell her the spirits say she will get hers in the near future. Best. Thanks. Yay, I definitely let her manipulate me, no question. She is also a narcissist, so she's going to be pissed if the judge decides to have her pay up. At least I know what's been missing in order to enjoy a fulfilling relationship, but will take a lot of work on myself first. Breaking away from the codependency is not easy. BTW, if the judge grants you attorney fees, take it. She has caused you such heartache. You owe her nothing. No, but you can do it. Unfortunately, some people are toxic. Stay strong, flexed biceps. You will be a better person and will look back and maybe not laugh but shake your head at what you put up with. Don't kick yourself. Love can be like an addiction in itself. Your marriage was a classic heart versus head conflict. To your credit, I think your head was firing off warning flares right and left. You knew what she was like when you proposed, but I think you might have had some hope that being married would offer her such materialistic stability that it would overcome her desire for other men. Your heart said maybe I can nice her into being the wife that I desire, but I think your head was realistic about the chances of that actually happening all along. As I've said many times, and hey, you seem to agree, there are open relationships out there that work under certain agreed up conditions up front. Boundaries and partners must be established and respected, or ours are just a waste of time. This is why so many of them fail. I think you know that based on what you write here, so I won't lecture. She just isn't the right person to be married to. I congratulate you on navigating an exit strategy that doesn't appear too devastating financially. It could have been worse. Just be wary of her manipulation going forward. She hasn't changed, but she does know what you want to hear and will certainly try to use it against you to get back together for round 2. Don't fall for it. Be kind to yourself. You are not the first victim of codependence and you won't be the last. be strong, make great decisions. Be your own best friend going forward. My advice, under no circumstances should you take her back. You must go no contact with her. Expunge her from your life. Also, never ever agree to an open relationship again. Good luck to you, and take what you have learned from your marriage to make a better life for yourself. Lesson learned: seemed fun at the time but no better than most the pain an open relationship can cause. Start imagining what life would be like with a true faithful woman, not the wife. Start the search and you will find her. Hoping for your best outcome. Sounds like your life is just beginning. You've done well given the circumstances. Stay strong and try not to worry too much about the past. What happened happened, and you got a very bright future ahead of you. Let memories of your ex disappear into the vapors where they belong. You let this get far too long due to serious codependency issues. Clearly the relationship hasn't been healthy for a very long time and you sacrificed your principles to make her happy. Please get into therapy to work through the long-term damage she did. Read Codependent No More and figure out some ways you can remove your deep codependency, and please stop talking to her, allowing any emotional in to move you at all. There is zero need to have any contact with her at this point except through your lawyer. Yup, this man needs serious therapy. She so easily took advantage of him. You should not date anytime soon. You need to build up your self-respect and boundaries. She lost all respect for you because you did not have any for yourself. You did not enforce boundaries. You chased after her when she was betraying you. You ignored the warning signs that she was not going to be a good wife. You do not marry someone if she isn't all in. It is a huge risk for a guy. You are lucky you didn't have kids with her. You are lucky she signed the stipulation. You are lucky she isn't pregnant right now, as it would be assumed that it was your child by the legal system. A judge would likely have peeked back the stipulation. You could be on child support payments for the next 18 years, for a child that isn't yours. Thankfully, you are able to escape and start anew. You are about to hit your prime as a guy. It's like being in your early 20s as a woman. Don't fall into self-pity. You dodged a bad situation and have a second chance. Stop. Reflect on your boundaries. Focus on improving yourself for the next few years. And for God's sake, cut her completely out of your life. Also, if you aren't doing it already, start really focusing on building net worth. Read J.L. Collins' Simple Path to Wealth. Is the hardest hurdle for me. I've been so conditioned now it's hard to break away. Last week I went out of town and gambled for a few days just to get a sample size. I still have feelings for her and parts of me miss her. Thinking about the disrespect and betrayal helps disassociate from those feelings, but it's still hard. That's just a normal human reaction. Don't feel bad about having it. Understand it's loss aversion from the primitive part of your brain. Trust your frontal lobes. Get excited about the future ahead of you. I promise you that life gets better. The best thing that happened for you in this whole fiasco is 1. You decided to put the house in your name only. 2. While she was in the limo and saw a fair fog, she gave you everything you needed and really deserved. Maybe it was the spirits or destiny working things out correctly for the hardships you faced, for the way she manipulated and unjustly used you the wrong way. The spirits of you will definitely did in fact compensate by rendering in your favor in the divorce. There's no doubt about that. I totally agree with what others are saying about making her pay the $10,000 for your attorney fees. It's only fair for what she did. In spite of how she misrepresented the spirits, if she looks at it correctly, she got justice in the way in workout. Please follow the advice recommended and you'll do fine. It'll all go your way once you begin to move forward. Don't enter into polyamory, it's not for you. So glad how things worked out for you. I hope she sees the light. She didn't get away with anything. Make her pay. Divorces are expensive for a reason. Because they are worth it. Humor aside, you acted quickly when you needed to. She was ripe with feelings for her AP, so when I wrote out the stipulation I'd receive the full equity on the house, my bank accounts, and retirement accounts, she agreed. I gave her a week to decide after another weekend of vacationing with her AP, and she signed the stipulation in front of a notary and I filed it the same day. You are keeping the majority of what you worked for. Your wife is an idiot and a fool and will always be. Your wife wants you back. No, not really, she wants back the life with you she gave up. If your wife really wanted you, she would never have left you. She wants to reconcile with you so that when she chooses to divorce she can take a whole lot more from you than she can now due to her short-sightedness and stupidity. Remember this when you feel her pulling on your heartstrings. You don't need karma. Bad decisions have consequences. Look at all the short-sighted and stupid decisions your former wife has made so far. They will continue. There is a big difference between the woman you thought you were married to versus the woman you were actually married to. The woman you thought you were married to has never existed. The woman that betrayed you is the real her. Always has been. You will survive this, especially when you recognize and accept the difference between who you thought she was versus who she really is. I feel extremely fortunate to be put in this position. I had no idea when I got married the spouse is entitled to half even with the house in my name and I'm paying the whole damn mortgage. I didn't realize how good of a move it was to do an uncontested divorce, giving me most of the marital estate. Fortune had little to do with it. You recognized an opportunity and seized it. Your former wife's judgment was clouded. She felt in complete control after keeping you at arm's length and in limbo for as long as she did. While her fantasy proceeded without hiccup, she felt comfortable leaving you behind and agreeing to your terms to keep you complacent. Sounds like her ex suckered her. If he was capable of providing for her like you did, she wouldn't be trying to renegotiate the terms. Even when your divorce is finalized, your former wife will still attempt to insert herself back into your life. Have you given any consideration to relocating? Not only does such a move give you peace of mind, but it makes no contact that much easier to maintain with physical distance to separate you. My wife indeed did get suckered in by her boyfriend's promises, and when realizations started hitting her she immediately went into reconciliation mode. I'm bracing myself for the eventuality of round 2. I don't care how much closeness/intimacy she throws at me. My plan is to wait the 30 days after the divorce closes so there's no chance of appeal and sell the house and relocate so I can have a fresh start. Your plan is excellent. I would suggest you lie to your wife if it will halt any effort on her part to appeal. What do I mean? Give her false hope. Tell her you are considering reconciliation but you need your space for the next few months. She has been a complete fool so far, so no reason to assume she will see through the lie. She is after all desperate at the moment and she has no leverage to counter you with. Avoid closeness and intimacy completely. Depending on the laws in your area, any intimacy may be viewed by the law as reconciliation and reset/cancel all your efforts so far. While the days are counting down, I assume you are making efforts or have secured employment elsewhere. Do the same for your lodgings. That way when the time elapses you can simply disappear and if need be leave the house in the care of a real estate agent to be sold while you start fresh elsewhere. Thanks, that's solid advice. I should have mentioned this in my original post, but she's still living with me. We've hooked up regularly but we cut it off last month. We even recently went on a date to a hot spring nearby and didn't give her any closeness. I pray my poker game can hold up for this next round. She is still living with you. Does your lawyer know she is back in the house? That you have been intimate with her? Even though it is an error to have let her back into your home and your bed, it is useful to an extent. She will believe, erroneously, that she still has some influence over you. That she can salvage the situation. By hook or by crook, your best bet is to get her out of the home and into an apartment or back with her family, temporarily of course. Closer to the close stay, you could consider sending her off a solo vacation/cruise for a few weeks, maybe a month. Consider such a ploy an investment because while she is distracted and away she cannot attempt to derail your efforts. Yes, my lawyers know she's still living with me. I don't believe there's any legal argument she can make around that at this point. For the upcoming objection hearing there is no new evidence allowed. I've thought about skipping town for an extended time. Not a bad idea to do maybe before this next hearing so I'm not swayed. Even better if you leave for work of course. So long as it will not create any legal issues for you. But are you willing to depart leaving your belongings behind and in her care? She has access to the home and therefore anything in the home. If you attempt to pack up you will tip your hand. Unless of course you lie and tell her you are moving for work. That you will send for her once you are settled, not. Seems far less risky if you send her on vacation. You can empty the house and leave without interference. The best scenario would be for her to leave voluntarily I feel. I do feel apprehension of leaving for an extended time. She's gone behind my back and have her ex-boyfriend over at the house without my permission, my security cameras outside caught her. Sorry that you had to go through all of that crap up. You were right to admit that some of it was your fault. What on earth were you thinking? Entering a committed and, to all intents and purposes, lifelong relationship with someone who was going to shag randoms at will? You have been fortunate indeed to have come out of this so well. Mainly because your ex's head is so full of unicorns, rainbows and other shit, that she didn't take care of business when it really mattered. Take your time now up. Heal slowly and carefully. And FFS next time, don't get involved with someone who has the morals and integrity of a bonobo. Good luck. Ha, well said. I was so foolish and delusional about her that my rational brain stopped working. Luckily my logical self registered in time. Of course she tried to steal all your money and property from you when she realized she's an idiot and couldn't support herself. What a scumbag move on her part, after signing the papers and agreeing to everything. I'm sorry to hear that you're going through all this BS. I sincerely hope you keep every cent that you've earned in the house and she doesn't get a single penny of it. First of all I must say that I find all these spiritual coaches and books bullshit. Spirituality cannot be found in paper or some guru but around you, in experiences and in the most unexpected of places. Tunedly, I have met a few genuine polygamous couples and I have seen how tight they are. They are attached to the hip and one can clearly see that their main so are their priority. They always come back home at the agreed time or earlier, jump on their spouses to share and continue. Most of the self-proclaimed polygamous people are imposters who want to keep eating their cake. As far as suggesting something to you, nope, you are doing everything right and you must continue doing so. All the best. Yes, honestly putting the affair and emotional abuse aside I can't even bear thinking about integrating into her spirituality world. She's mentioned entity attachments to me to explain why she doesn't feel safe. Really she's just bitter things aren't going the way she thought they would. It is all make-believe nonsense to convince herself that her shitty behavior is justified. In her deluded mind these fake spirits told her to do what she did, so her actions must be right. Good for you in moving forward with divorce. Best wishes to you. Most self-claimed spiritual people who preach a lot are actually trying to justify their own agendas by using spiritual BS as a manifesto. Fortunately for you, you can't submit advice of the spirits as evidence in family court. It's all BS to justify manipulation and abuse. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.